should have brought you a hand warmer.
I see you haven't brought the petition yet for commission.
I'll be announcing that, if I ever know.
Today. Or Sunday.
I know there's a rush. Anybody from over this way file?
See, everybody can print their stuff online, so I don't know who's circulating.
Mm-hmm. How many signatures you need?
82.
Oh, we'll see.
I got a packet in the office if you want it.
Okay. And the deadline is when?
April 6th at 4 p.m.
Okay, so there's still time. Okay.
Yes, please.
I could have one more conversation with my kids.
It's kind of
So I'm losing some grandpa time, yeah.
Marvin.
Pardon me?
9.
It's 9 o'clock. Thank you, Shannon. It's 9 o'clock. Let's please call the meeting to order. Beginning this meeting, I'd like to suggest that everyone get recognition from the chair so we don't have two people speaking at the same time and have a little more order. Do we have our video camera on? Thank you. The only reason I asked that is not too long ago, it occurred, the intention was there, but it just didn't get turned on. Okay, first thing on our agenda is to approve the agenda. Any additions or corrections?
Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
We have a motion to approve the agenda as written,
I'll second.
seconded. Any discussion? Merlin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dwayne?
Aye.
Wayne?
Aye.
Dwight?
Aye.
I vote aye, motion passed. Next thing on the agenda is to approve the minutes of February 5th, 2020.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
I sent your guys' minutes in your packets and emailed them, and then I also presented a copy of your suggestion of changes in your files this morning.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. I want to say right off the get-go, last meeting, I really confused that whole issue. And so I went through the video that was on our website, and again, thank you, Shannon, for having that out there, that was very helpful. And I went through it minute by minute, trying to get the right order that things were said. And then I wrote that down, and I put this, and I put it in red, and I sent this to Shanna. I would like you guys to look at that. And I also sent a letter to Jessica. Now, I did that late. I could have done it possibly earlier, but I sent a letter to Jessica asking for an outside opinion on what actually did we do. Because we had a motion to accept the minutes as written, and then we had a motion to accept the minutes as amended. So, and that was my confusion. I take ownership for that. So, here we have it. Is there any question I'm gonna ask you guys to look at the minutes that I sent with the red writing to Shanna. And take a few moments to review those.
Well, this is from the meeting before, right?
This is
From
from,
the January 15th meeting.
No.
no, it was last meeting. It was February 5th when we were trying to correct the minutes for the meeting before that.
Well, down towards the bottom on the ones that are in red, the board discussed a section line east of County 31. Should be State Highway 31, not County.
Oh, okay,
What page is that on?
page 204.
On the second right down.
Thanks, Dwayne.
Thank you, Dwight.
Should be State 31, huh?
I guess.
State Highway 31?
Yeah.
Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, which are we approving here now?
We're talking about this one right now. The one that has the red corrections in it. And if it doesn't get accepted, then we'll go to the other one. Right now, we're talking about the one that has the red corrections in it. Can I have a motion to approve or deny or disapprove?
You made that motion?
No, I said I'm asking for
Oh.
that motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as corrected.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion to approve and a second to approve the February 2020 minutes with the red corrections on it that I emailed Shanna. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question here on this. Shauna, you stated in there you wouldn't attest to the minutes. Now, if you don't attest to the minutes, can they be official? If you don't?
It's just that if the board doesn't approve them, then they can't go any further, then the meeting is at a standstill. But according to the AG's opinion that was presented by our state's attorney, I don't have to attest to the minutes. The board has to approve them to keep business flowing.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Any more discussion? Okay, Dwight, how do you vote?
Aye.
Merlin?
Aye.
Wayne?
I'll vote aye.
Dwayne?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion passed. Now we can approve the bills.
Mr. Chairman, I have a couple of questions on the bills for the board. There's two bills in there, one from the city of Stanton for the utilities. Well, it was the unpaid utilities that they did specials on that grocery store that we took back for taxes. So that bill is in there in the amount of $2,436.14. And then the Hazen Townhouse that we've since sold, but it came back on taxes. There was a utility bill for $169.36. And I just wanna know where the board wants to take those dollars out of. If they wanna take it out of the county utility line item where we pay all of our county bills out of, or if we wanna stick with the renovation of county property, under the building maintenance fund, that there's a $15,000 budget. 'Cause that's, in the past, historically, where we've taken all of any bills associated with the foreclosed properties out of.
Oh, this one in Stanton, that's a pretty high bill.
$2,436.14.
That's for electricity?
That's for the unpaid specials on that property. The electricity that has been accrued over the years before we had it, but it's our property now, we're liable for this bill. Since then, we are not getting any bills for that place. I believe the maintenance department has gone and capped off the sewer and the water shut off and there's no electricity, so we're not accruing anything at this point, but this is an outstanding bill that has to get paid.
Will you please repeat that second fund that we could possibly use?
Renovation of county property, it's in the building maintenance fund. And that has a $15,000 budget, and there's been nothing taken out of it.
Okay. And we'll need a motion which way to go on that bill then, correct? Or
Yeah,
just
not
need to say-
necessarily a motion, I just need to know where you want Glenn to code it to.
Well, let's answer Shanna's question, and thank you for bringing it up right away. I would like to take it out of that renovation fund that has $15,000 in, and I'd like to know what your other guys' opinions are. What's your recommendation,
My
Shanna?
recommendation is to take it out of there, since historically that's where we've always taken foreclosed property expenses out of.
Okay,
Because I think it's gonna skew our utility line,
it would.
that we use for the county.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Okay, is there any more discussion regarding that, charging those unpaid specials and Hazen deal to that 15,000 renovation fund?
Well, I would say that'd be the fun to take it out of, definitely. The unfortunate part is, we're hooked on something that isn't so flavorful,
And we'll put that topic on our next agenda, because I brought up a few issues with
Okay,
a couple commissioners yesterday on what I foresee happening with this in the future, so
yeah.
we'll discuss that at a different meeting.
So if there's no objection, that's where we'll take the funds out of? Any objection? No objection stated, that's where we'll take it out of the renovation fund.
Thank you.
Thank you. Merlin, do not pass the bills back to me. I screwed them all up yesterday.
Are you gonna stamp them?
Well, I guess what, I took ownership, but someone said that, well, it wasn't just me, so please just stack them over there, after the meeting I'll sign them. Okay, so we don't do this back and forth. Is that okay?
I can do that.
Appreciate it. They were very kind to me yesterday when they expressed how bad they were shuffled.
Yeah, you really did it up good.
Okay, now I'm gonna hand them to you this way every time, so that's
Okay.
the way Dwayne passes them to me, and I'm gonna do that.
You got a question mark on commission?
Was there, usually there's a sticky note on the first one that says.
Because the
it's-
person hasn't handed in their mileage
treasurer
sheets for a
bills
couple
in there.
months.
I wanna see that sticky note, please. 17. Okay, what's the commission with the question
I
mark?
think it's I'm just gonna add it up, I think it's those two added together. She wanted to know where that dollar amount's supposed to come out of.
Oh, the 2605?
2605 would be the total between those two utility bills. So she just
Oh.
needed the board to let her know,
I see, that was
Okay.
those two that we just talked about.
yep, added together.
Jessica, today.
We have another sticky note here.
That's the one.
No, it's $9,200. And it's Shannon.
Yeah, it's just the 2436.
Wow, okay. Never mind. We'll look at the rest of it then. Okay.
You have to get it on the main then?
Here, I'll write it on there. so she
Huh?
doesn't-
What are you asking?
Have to get it on the main badge?
Oh, quite a few months ago it did, but I paid for it.
You did, and then, I don't know what happened with the invoice.
I saw it go through. It was recorded.
Okay, then we better pull that one, because that one came when I was on medical leave.
That was 3 months ago roughly.
Yeah,
That, I saw it go through.
yeah, because you deposited your cash into the general fund,
It was recorded in your general ledger, I remember that.
the check was. Okay. Let's pull that one out.
Okay, I'll get there. It's definitely worth double looking at.
Yeah.
Just hand it- oh, no, wait, those are-
You know, we'll just look at it now. That's nice.
Thank you.
It hadn't been printed.
Pardon me?
It hadn't been printed. These are the only payments that were due to Dakota Awards. 25 and 24.
So it hadn't been paid, but,
They just sent it December 2nd, so.
no problem.
Oh, you'll get lost up if you put it there.
I'll get yelled at. I'll find it.
You have to yell at yourself.
I'll find the right spot.
Yeah, I can't remember if I have the mileage thing for January or whatever. Can you, well, what I'll do is I'll look, because I'll look on that last payroll stub you sent me. Because it was there, it should be on there. Right? And I somehow think it kind of was. I need to order some new memory chips.
And you and me both. For January.
Dwight, do you know what this final chip seal is for?
The what?
This bill for chip seal?
That one's on the agenda too.
Was that out at,
That's the final estimate.
for Beaver
I'll
Bay?
have to ask. Don't know what that's for.
I think that was just for all of our chip seals and incidentals that we did last year. This is just, you know, they closed their books out over the winter, so this is the final pay estimate on it. I have that here too, because it's gonna need a.
We can probably ask when they come at the end.
Pull it out and ask
Are
them
they-
I
about
was
it.
just curious.
Is it in today?
Well, they got a lot on the agenda, so hopefully they're here today.
We did pay for it last meeting, if I remember right, the tar.
Nope, this is different. This is for the actual work that was done in the county last year.
All those,
The quantity date range was from April of 19
Just
to
for chip
December.
seal.
just for all those patches that they put on that we had to jump our cars over?
And that's the state. They had those,
I have it here though too. It requires
Experts.
signature from the chairman. It requires signature from the chairman that bill does. So once it's approved, I'll have somebody sign up on it.
If someone got a job and go up to the state place and put it down.
You know, they're supposed to be professionals.
Well, they've all been high school grads, so.
Said overshoes, I don't know anybody wears overshoes anymore.
some of the older folks.
Yeah. Yeah,
You wear 'em? Okay, I thought you did. You should, you know, and get the buckles on there.
yeah. Used to put bread sacks over their shoes and then put them in their boots because they leaked. Jesus. Used to be pretty primitive.
What do you need much, huh? There's so many members.
December telephone that was paid on January 15th.
Okay, so I didn't know January and February, okay. Next month.
not sure I ever saw that one before. What's that about that tower lease?
Yeah, that's one spot to go and watch.
It's an annual deal or?
Maybe so.
It says tower and space lease for building ground, $3,000.
Is that it?
Send it to her? Yeah.
You want me to take the West River apart here? So I can go through them better?
If you want to leave your last day.
The last 10 minutes, I mean, won't even last the day of the day.
Thank you.
Don't forget Cindy Zucker's right there.
Right.
That goes up. Okay, we reviewed all the bills. May I have a motion to approve the treasury bills?
I'll make a motion.
Second? I'll second that. Any discussion? Okay, we have a motion to approve the treasury bills by, call for vote. Dwayne?
Aye.
I vote aye. Merlin?
Aye.
Wayne?
Aye.
Dwight?
No, it can't vote. Not the treasury bill.
Oh, okay, thanks. Motion passed. We have a motion to approve the other general bills.
Mr. Chairman, so moved.
Thank you. I have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Merlin, how you vote?
Aye.
Dwayne?
Aye.
Wayne?
Aye.
Dwight?
Aye.
And Marv votes aye. Motion passed. Now we have a little bit of time before 9, 3 minutes. We can talk about extension cages. It'll take just a few seconds there.
Election cages, not
Pardon me?
extension. You said extension cages.
Did I say extension? Election cages. I was reading the other line. Thank you.
Well, I thought you were gonna put them in extension cages.
Okay, we have 3 extension cages.
6.
6
Election cages.
election cages. And I only saw 3, like, there's 6. We went and looked at them. They're PVC cages. Shannon, you can expound on this. As it was told, we don't use them anymore. We don't have any need for them anymore. They are county property. They cost over $1,000 a piece. And if we have to, do we need them anymore?
No,
Do you foresee any need down the road?
no.
Okay, I believe we should put those up for sale, and I'd like to advertise them in the Beulah Beacon. Is there any discussion on that? Any thoughts? Will you please put them up for sale in the Beulah Beacon? And I'm gonna ask a question. I don't wanna do this, but I'm gonna put it on the table. I'm willing to put them back, or take a picture, which I already did, and put them on BizMan, but last time we made $1,000 extra on a truck, but I don't think it's worth it in these.
I don't think you're gonna get anybody to buy them. I think they're gonna be landfill material.
Somebody might buy them for the wheels. That's about it, okay? So that's what we'll do with those. I still got,
The annual performance won't take long, will it?
Hmm.
That's just to decide who's gonna go.
okay, let's talk about the annual performance. Where are we at on that?
Did I put that email in your guys' packet? I might not have, but, Dina Kemet, their annual performance reviews are on February 25th, 9 AM to noon. And she asked me to put it on the agenda to see, who would be interested in joining this year.
Is that at her office then?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's conference room there.
I would be willing to go. Is this when they just annual review of their own employees?
They're, yeah, because they're part county, part NDSU, it's their NDSU review
Okay,
with their NDSU boss, Jim Gray.
that's what it was.
Their main supervisor comes there and does the actual review.
Actual review.
Yeah, and you're just witnessing, basically. I would be interested in going February 25th. What day of the week is that?
Tuesday.
Next Tuesday?
Yep.
Anybody else interested in attending that? Okay, you can please let her know that I will attend.
Yep.
Thank you. You're up.
Oh, thanks.
I know I had already emailed all you guys, but I didn't know if you have this stuff with your. So, like I had mentioned in my previous email, Hazen is inquiring and Beulah are both inquiring. They'd like a quote for our office to do the assessing instead of hiring an assessor. Well, Beulah doesn't have one, but they use Solom Law Office right now. So I don't know how you guys want to do it, if you want to form a committee to come up with the price, or if you want to charge per parcel like what Solom is, or I don't know. Monty and Mr. Obenauer are here if you have questions for them.
Okay. Are we required to do this if they don't have an assessor?
Yes, the state requires my office to do that, and then we need to bill them for it.
Okay. Do any of you gentlemen have anything you want to offer? If you do, please come forward. No? Okay, thank you. Don't take, it don't take long when they give me the thumbs down. What I would like to know, if this is practical, can we ask them, they asked for a quote, basically what you just said saying, can we turn it back to them and have them tell us what their expectation of hours and costs that would be if we do this service? So that we have a better way of understanding, how would we pick a number?
I have no idea how to pick a number. My personal feeling is like Beulah is paying $17.98 in a parcel, and we wouldn't be doing, we're doing the same work that Solom Law Office is, so I don't know why we would charge much less than that. It's not like we're looking for the work.
And what happens if we have a lot more parcels, then what?
Well, it would be per, you would do it per parcel.
Per parcel,
That's how I
regardless?
would think you should do it, but, see, now, I don't know how Solom came up with that amount. I just took his amount divided by how many parcels he had, and that's how much it is. It's $17.98 a parcel.
Okay. When would we have to start or begin doing this service?
Well, we already are helping them with their homestead credits and any of that stuff. We're already helping with as much as we can. Ryan from Vanguard is helping them with some of the commercial assessing. So we're helping as much as we can now, because they already don't have a assessor. And for Beulah, they want a quote too, but theirs is good through next October, so we wouldn't have to start theirs till next year.
Okay, we're just talking Hazen at this time.
Just Hazen right now, but I suppose however you do it, you should be consistent.
And, well, we can always charge them more. There's nothing wrong with that. How much do you see this impacting your office?
Well, it's gonna be a big impact. I mean, basically, the two of us are gonna be doing the assessing of 7 people. We used to have 7 certified assessors. Right now, there's 3, and if Ryan Oberg doesn't do it anymore, then there'll only be the 2 of us and 2 data collectors. And there too, I don't, like I said in this memo, I don't know what would be more practical, getting a part-time secretary, getting a part-time, data collector. I have no idea how to go about it.
Okay, would you, I'm just gonna throw things on the table, and it's called brainstorming. Can we go with just the staff we presently have at this time and see how things work out? And then as we walk through it a little farther, we'll end up with a better understanding
Right,
what the needs would be?
I don't know how else we're gonna do that, but the only problem I can see with that is you guys are gonna have to let my office be closed sometimes then, because we both are gonna have to be out in the field. And so we're gonna have to have our answering machine on and maybe ask somebody else. The only thing I can think of that would have to be done right when somebody walks in would be a moving permit, so we can teach somebody else how to do that and issue them. Otherwise, there's no way that the 2 of us can get all that assessing done.
Do you have an idea who you would get to help, that you would train for a simple
It's just a simple thing. I was gonna ask Shanna if Amber could do it. I mean, all you really have to do for a moving permit is make sure that the, taxes are paid, and then we can issue the moving permit. That's pretty simple, but that's something that they're gonna want when they come in.
So you're already doing the work, so pretty soon somebody needs to, we need to be able to send a bill out pretty soon.
Right, and another thing that we need to think about too is like, since them other cities like only have data collectors, I've been going to the city, Colette was doing it and I did it, going to the city meetings, we have to do all their state reports, like all them other cities, and we haven't billed them either, so I think we really need to start doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you guys wanna do a I don't know how you wanna do it.
How would we, talking to Shannon now, how would we record this revenue? What's your recommendation? Are we gonna
There's a
stick?
county fees line item already within the general fund that we put sheriff fees and recorder fees into. I wouldn't see why we couldn't just add assessing fees.
Can we add another code and have it just for assessing fees rather than group it with what we already have, so we can keep track specifically what this is costing us each year? We'd be able to pull out the numbers really quick.
You'd be able to pull out the numbers quick anyway, because the recording fees and the sheriff fees only have one entry every month. So then it'd just be a third entry every month, a monthly deposit. You know what I mean? Because recorder.
I know what you mean.
I mean, we could put it in a separate fund, but if we have one labeled county fees already, and this is a fee we're charging.
Because, it's so hard to tell. I mean, you're gonna have extra mileage, copies, and I put another, new code in there from Vanguard. I mean, if you guys are gonna have us take this on, and maybe we can do it with very little extra help, but I need everything on Vanguard. It's a nightmare having some on Vanguard, some not on Vanguard. I mean, if I have to take on these two cities and then don't have the rest of the county on Vanguard, I honestly don't know that we can do it.
But we'll try, right? That's what we said a little earlier. It's worthwhile to try for a while to see what we need.
Well, I'm saying it's already a nightmare with having some on Vanguard and some on not. When I'm trying to do sales ratios, it's already a nightmare, and then I'm gonna take on all this and still,
To understand, the question I have is, at this point, do we have enough information to know if we wanna hire somebody part-time, or do we wanna run this for 3 months and see?
no, we don't know yet. I'm not saying that we need to hire somebody now. I'm saying that I would really like you guys to consider signing on with Vanguard, cause it's already out to 2024. I mean, until they can
Oh,
even
they're
get to us.
That's it. When you talk to guys, you gotta tell me when you switch subjects.
Oh, sorry.
Um,
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about hiring. I'm
Okay.
saying Vanguard to
talking
get the
about-
rest
okay,
of
well, can you, let me come back to that, is that all right?
Okay, yep.
I wanna visit with Shanna. Is it impractical to create another fund for this, so we can keep track of it, because we might add another city to it? And then there's all these different costs, that would be mileage involved and different, you know what I'm saying, rather than just fees.
A new
grouping them together.
expenditure account?
Mhm.
A budget specifically for that area, I think is what you're.
I can find a line item somewhere in there that you could tap all your, I just created a line item just for social services 2 weeks ago, because I need to keep track of their indirect costs as well, so
Yeah.
I could find a line item in the miscellaneous budget that we could earmark all of her expenses to for this assessing.
Mr. Chairman, I think I read in here this Solem Law Office want to continue to do that.
Solem Law Office is doing Beulah's. They never have given, I don't believe Monty's asked them.
No,
They wanna continue doing Beulah,
Beulah's.
but Beulah wanted a quote from us also.
Oh.
Where that was my thinking about why would we do it for much less at all, if at all less.
Oh, heck no, more.
Then they'll stay with Solon.
Well, we're not looking for the work.
Well,
We keep,
any thoughts?
we keep getting buildings and have to pay somebody else's bills, I think we need help, right?
Right. I'm the kind of person that likes to have everything clear cut, and that's why I'm asking you whether it's worthwhile to make another fund and keep this totally isolated from what we're already practicing. I am willing, and it's up to the commission, it's not just up to me. If Shannon has an idea and we think it'll work, there's no reason that I don't see we don't try it for a while, and at the end of the year, we say, well, we don't, it might be better to do, we can change. Is that right?
But see, they're
Or
gonna,
like, instead of setting up a fund. You said you can find a
I
line
think
item.
that, yeah, that's that's fine, we can do that. I think what she needs to know is what we're gonna charge for.
Right, Monty needs to know whether it's
Mhm.
more feasible for him to hire somebody or have us do it.
I'm getting to that. I wanna know what's the impact for our county before I was gonna get to the
I
pricing.
don't know if we'll see any impact today,
other
you know what
than-
I mean, like,
right.
until she starts getting out there and doing the assessment part. But then by the time she's doing that, she needs to be charging the city of Hazen
Okay,
for doing the assessing.
Right.
The fun part is no issue.
okay, thank you. We'll take care of that, and if we have to adjust down the road, we can always change it.
Is Solon gonna give Hazen a quote?
I don't believe that they've asked Solon for a quote.
Oh,
Okay, I'm looking for a motion to, how would I put that?
I mean, like I said, I don't know that you have to decide it today. If you wanna do a committee to come up with a price, I don't know. My thoughts were just, why would you charge less than what?
Well, we have some, if we're already collecting fees, we need to send bills, so putting it off isn't going to really change a whole lot.
Right,
I guess I'm gonna make a motion that we assume the assessing fees for the city of Hazen at, I'm just gonna round it off to $18 a parcel. For the sake of discussion, I'm gonna make a motion that we accept that.
Except the assessing fees.
For the city of Hazen at $18 a parcel. Okay, it's been present, go ahead.
That fee for like 1 year, contract type deal? Because, you know, you
The-
have wages and benefits and, this is pretty just straight out, so.
that's how Solom's contract is with Beulah. You know, I've never had to deal with any of this, but that's how Solom's contract is with
Okay.
Beulah, is for yearly, they do a new contract.
Well, we have a motion, I'm looking for a second, so we can continue,
Oh.
so we can have discussion.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the Hazen assessing fees at $18 a parcel, and a second. And now it's open for discussion.
Mr. Chairman, are we going to give Beulah the same offer? Are we gonna just have our assessing at $18 per parcel regardless of which city we do it for?
No, at this time, we're just talking, my motion is specifically just for Hazen. I guess the answer to that is I don't know, because my motion and a second doesn't discuss Beulah at this time. Now, Cindy, now you can go back to my tunnel processing, I guess I'll call it. Why are you laughing?
I'm not, I'm sorry.
Go back to that Vanguard issue. I was unclear what you were.
Well,
trying
I
to
was just
discuss.
saying that it's already a nightmare with me just doing my own assessing and helping them other cities that only have data collectors. I mean, the cities that aren't on Vanguard and the rest of the county that's not on it, it's a nightmare trying to do sales ratio studies and trying to do all this stuff to get my state reports ready. And now if I have to take on 2 other cities, it's gonna be impossible as far as I'm concerned.
So what are you asking about
I'm
then?
asking that if you decide that, I mean, if we do have to take these other cities on, that you please get us on Vanguard for the rest of the ones that aren't on there. And at the end of the day, like the state says, we should anyway. It's supposed to be fair and equitable, and it's not when you have 2 cities and the rest of the county except the lake that aren't on it.
Okay, Jason, you want to come up to the chair, please, so we can hear you?
Who's all on Vanguard?
The only ones that aren't are Pick City and Golden Valley and the rest of the rural other than the lake.
Okay.
Would you state your name if you would, please, just so we have a record?
You bet. Jerry Obenauer, City of Hazen. So my question is for Cindy. What would it help you if we had our own data collector then? Would that help a lot, or would it
Yeah.
not matter to you?
That would help, actually, if you had your own data collector, all I need to do is certify their values to the state. So then I basically wouldn't be doing your assessing. If there would be a problem, I would have to check it. You know, but that's just like, I have data collectors for Golden Valley, Zap, Stanton, Pick City. So I already have that, and that helps. I don't have to assess it. They're basically the assessors. I just have to certify it.
So you don't charge them anything then?
Well, we need to start, cause I have to
Oh,
I
okay.
have to do, you know, like, we have to do their homestead credits, all their exemptions. They're adding their stuff into Vanguard. It'll depend. Now, are you gonna have your data entry person put their stuff into Vanguard? You know, where now they aren't. We
Right.
have to start charging them. It's not fair to the rest of the,
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to ask you if that would be a separate price then for us, you know, or how you decipher the difference between doing the full-blown thing, or if you had help from, not me, but
Right.
Monty, obviously,
Right.
but.
yeah, so I don't even know how you would go about,
Would that be best to set a flat rate for the cities that have data collectors? Like you charge them X amount of dollars a year to upload all their reports to the state and take care of that?
probably.
I mean, because it doesn't take a lot of time if there's no discrepancy in it, right?
No, right, it's just a matter of putting in building permits and doing the homestead credits and all that stuff, and sending out notices. It would be a lot less if you guys would have that. I mean, that's a big part of it, is going out and doing the assessing part of it.
Well, Jerry, we'll accept that data processing, but I like our fee then.
I'm sure you do. You know,
So-
we're just trying to figure out what's best for our community too, and that's
Sure.
why we came to you guys. Obviously, we lost our employee, and as you understand with budgets, you know, trying to figure out how we can continue with maybe not filling that position fully or at all, and how we can, you know, either contract services or, you know, put more on the backs of the people we already have in our offices now. So we're just trying to be budget conscious.
Efficient,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah, absolutely.
Um,
So, thank you.
Is there, no, stay there, please. Is there a possibility that by our next meeting, which is 2 weeks, you guys could come up with a value of how much you would recommend as per parcel, because you guys are doing the data processing?
Monty thinks so. And
Yeah.
we just, we'll meet again here in another 2 weeks as a board, so we just had our meeting on Monday night.
Okay, well, we have a motion and a second. I'm not dismissing you. I mean, you can go back if you want. I'm not cutting you off. We have a motion to move this forward at $17.98 and a second,
At $18.
at $18. I would like to withdraw that motion, if it's okay with the person who made the second.
Yes.
Okay, motion has been withdrawn. I'd like to know if we can table this till, and with the city of Hazen coming back with a value that they're willing to charge per parcel for the data collecting to help us come up with a fee? That's fair, is that okay? Well, so I'd like to table this. Do we need a motion to table? Okay, any discussion? Any discussion?
I think there is some things we need to check on. I know, I'm pretty sure McLean County has 2 people, and they do the county and the cities, and they're a lot bigger county than we are. But on the same token, if there is advantages to having a countywide assessor, but I don't see how we can do it for any less than anybody else would.
I don't either. We have the same budget constraints that Jerry was talking about.
Right.
I don't know how many assessors they have. I just know in our county, when I started here in 2006, every city had their own assessor, and Gary just did the rural. Every city had their own certified assessor. All he had to do was 1 class every year
Okay.
for them.
Well, we tabled this, and if it's all right, we'll get those numbers and we'll have further discussion at our next meeting. Okay, I think parliamentary procedure, when we table something, this is the first item on the agenda at the next meeting. I think that's correct.
I don't think I'll be able to get it on the agenda first item, because she'll have planning and zoning cases at 9:30.
Go ahead,
Maybe.
Monty?
Would the mid-month meeting work?
Yes? You would prefer the, be
March 18th?
March 18?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll table this till March 18 unless there's any objection by the other commissioners. Okay, we'll put it on the agenda for March 18th.
Mr. Chairman, are you gonna, what about the city of Beulah then? Are we gonna just give them the same quote as Solom has?
Well, I
or-
personally don't know how you could charge them any different
No.
than Hazen even,
It's
I
like
mean,
Dwight
you're,
said, we have to
right.
charge them.
Well, I think it'd be best just to set a flat rate for our county across the board for no matter which city needs us.
Right, I
That way
don't,
when it comes up
Right.
again, we don't have this discussion
Right.
every time, because we're gonna charge them the same no matter what. And I think maybe you should kinda look to see if they have a data collector, put some numbers together, like how many hours you think you would spend submitting reports, and bring that back to the board too, so that you can have a flat rate of this amount of dollars if they have a data collector, and this amount if they maybe are assessing,
right,
and bring that to the board at the March 18th meeting.
right.
Okay, did we answer your questions?
Everything was entered
Sort of?
by hand. We have computer systems that do all that now.
Cindy, did we answer your questions?
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
I was gonna say thanks for coming, Jerry, but Monty, you too.
Nice tie, Monty.
We've got a few minutes yet here for,
Dresser.
let's jump down to some of the easy ones here. We can do this in any order, other business, right? Am I
Right.
correct? Okay, I'd like to talk about, do we need anybody here for January sheriff's fees? Okay, can I accept a motion to accept or not accept?
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any objection or
5,136.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, yeah. Looking too far.
any discussion? Merlin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dwight?
Aye.
Wayne?
Aye.
Dwayne?
Aye.
And I vote aye, motion passed. Is Jessica here today? Do you expect her here?
I kinda don't.
Okay, we're gonna talk about alternate members assigned to county boards. I'll tell you what the issue was, and I think we're gonna table this until Jessica's here, but I'll tell you what the deal was. Merlin is on the library board. He could not make it. He called and asked me to attend, and I did. And we barely had enough people for a quorum. It's typically a 10-member board, but there's only 9 on it. There were 5 people there. It was decided that we had a quorum. We discussed quite a few issues. I voted. And after our meeting, we got a letter saying that that was not legal. And Jessica affirmed that because I was not appointed to that board by the commission. In order to be a voting member, we have to be assigned to that board. So, I was hoping that, I'm not sure how to do this, I'm looking for some direction, that anytime, we'd have to name all of us as alternates for all boards if we did that.
Mr. Chairman, I think that's a great idea, because you never know who can make it and who can't on some of that stuff.
Is there any discussion by commissioners?
Who said it was illegal, or where did that come from?
It came from McLean County, I believe, and she sent an email, and I copied that email and sent it to Jessica, and Jessica concurred.
Well, I've been at 2 planning and zoning meetings and voted both times in your place.
I know, and that could be called to question too, Dwight.
You better quit that.
Yeah,
Well, I think.
I agree.
If we do this, then that might take care of it.
Well, Mr. Chairman, planning and zoning, that, I don't know if it's set up in their bylaws or what, but, there are usually 2 commissioners assigned to that board. And if one of them can't make it, he selects another commissioner to fill his place.
Exactly.
And that's and that commissioner didn't vote there.
So we're okay with Dwight then, because, you know,
That-
And that's probably what needs to be done on some of these other boards, their bylaws. You were representing Mercer County, and this should be the verbiage that's in there that you are a voting member. It's just that evidently, some of these statutes or some of these things are outdated, and we can't, that would make,
I'm gonna, I wanted to have you guys be aware of this. I would like to have Jessica's input on this. But I believe Shanna had some comments.
No, I'm
No?
fine. You want this on the next agenda?
Please. Any objection?
no.
I know the ambulance board, if I'm not there and they have enough members for a quorum, they move on without me.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
As long as you-
Clinker on this one, oops, Mr. Chairman, the clinker on this one was there wasn't a quorum without him. So they did the business, he wasn't supposed to be there, so that, on Monday, we're gonna redo pretty much the whole thing when we have our next meeting.
Gotta do it all over again.
and I'll be there for that one.
I'm gonna ask, now, we already said we would table it. We still got a couple of minutes. You guys mind if I bring it back on the discussion? What would it take for me to be listed as an alternate to the library board? Just the commissioners to say so?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
How
I've
did,
never
how did,
had this.
how did we appoint Merlin to the library board?
Like,
The
like,
portfolio is kind of,
again, Marlon, I mean, and Marv, depends on what how their bylaws
Yeah.
are set up on their ruling board.
You're gonna have to check the library board's bylaws,
That's where it needs to go
Okay.
to.
because I'd like Dwayne said, I think that the P and Z bylaws are set up where you guys can substitute if need be, but I don't know what the. I don't know
There
what
it
the
was
library-
mandatory if, when I was on it, if I couldn't make it, I
Right.
had to pick another commissioner, and they were voting
But like the
members.
library or the ambulance board, it's
No.
not set up that way. You wouldn't
No.
have a substitute go in your
No.
place.
Mr. Chairman, I think the thing with it is that the library board and also the zone board for human services is a two-county deal, or 2 or 3 or 4 county things, so it's not like P and Z is just Mercer County. We don't deal with any other entities, so, you know, that's kind of where the
Okay.
mud comes in, maybe. on it.
Okay, so let's table this till next meeting.
Question on the library, does McLean have a commissioner on that board?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Please.
I'm tired.
I know, when I review the minutes, it's hard to hear some of us sometimes, but thank you. All right, so, we still got 3 more minutes, that's, what's Behavioral Health Summit?
That is what was tabled last meeting.
Holy
Dunn
crap.
County had asked us to donate money to this health summit. I
Yep.
did talk to Jessica yesterday about it, and she said that it wouldn't be an issue to give the money as long as we know that somebody's going to go get the education for it. Then it's a training
You got it.
for our employees. So if you picked one of these things on the back with the complimentary registration and made sure somebody was going, then
Where,
we wouldn't need
where-
the,
where would this training be at?
donation. It's in Watford City,
And what date?
April 28th through the 30th at the Rough Rider Center.
28th through the 30th?
Mhm.
So it's gonna cost mileage and possibly room and,
And definitely room and board, yeah.
so in addition to that, it's gonna be another $300 roughly. Correct? Yes.
And I don't know if that's something like our youth bureau people would be interested in doing, I mean, not just a commissioner, but somebody that works with the mental health issues. I don't know if we're better off feelers out to see if anybody's interested in going before making a decision and put the money up, or.
Or even if they got time to take it in, you know?
Is it?
Yeah, that's the other part, if they have time to even attend.
Your calves won't be coming yet. so.
Yeah,
I know.
Is there any interest on our county commission board to attend this training on April 28 to 30 at Watford City?
Be seeing.
April 28 to 30th.
I could probably attend.
Dow County gave $20,000 to this
Mhm.
project.
Well, they should have gave 10 of it to us. So Dwight's interested in going to this summit? So what are the dollar values that we're looking at?
$850 is one complimentary registration, 1,000, 15, 600, 2,500, 5,000. 5,000 gets you 4.
Is there any recommendation from the commissioners on what they would think would be a good one of these to select?
Where are we gonna get the money from?
It's not budgeted.
I think it's a worthwhile cause because it's supposed to be a good education on what are we gonna do with these people instead of putting them in jail where they get no help.
I agree that it's worthwhile. I guess I'm gonna ask the same question. Has anybody got a recommendation which one of these donations they would, which one of these contributions, excuse me, would be practical? This isn't church, speak up.
Well,
Well,
first
it's
of all,
kinda-
where's the money gonna come from?
Yeah, it's kinda hard to be practical when you have not the money in the budget to do it, and sometimes that's just the way it is.
That's true, very true. Okay, for the sake of discussion, can we have a motion to accept or deny donating, contributing to the training at Dunn County?
Well, I'll make a motion to make a contribution to this behavioral health summit.
Do you want a dollar amount on that motion?
I don't know if I should put a dollar amount on it now or wait till we find out where we're gonna get it from.
If we accept the motion as is, we will be choosing one of those regardless, so I'm not sure that, that's the motion that's on the floor, just everybody be aware of that. If we choose to do this, we will be selecting one of those, and that'll be the next step. So, I have a motion to make a contribution to the Behavioral Health Summit. Do I have a second? Do I have a second? No second, the motion dies. Is there any other motion? Okay. Okay. we'll
I
move
think
on.
we
Sorry.
should probably notify Dunn County by a letter and tell them that commissioners decided not to make a donation to the Behavioral Health Summit, just so they're not sitting there waiting for it.
We were extended an invitation, would you please send them a note that at this time has been voted not to? Thank you. It's 10 o'clock, we're up for the road, people, please.
Morning.
Morning, Ken.
Outstanding road accounts, according to mine, I don't have anyone yet.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Outstanding road accounts, I don't have any that are outstanding. You, Shanna? Final payment for chip seals,
They approved that in the bill this morning, but I think they might have had a question. or
We'd
two.
like to tell us where that,
Them road accounts, sorry, but I didn't hear you. Have they all been taken care of?
yeah, well, we don't have any that are outstanding, no.
I was concerned about the one from Steve Beaver.
That's not outstanding yet. It's
Huh?
just not- It's not outstanding yet, it's not enough past due to be outstanding yet.
Well, I
Soon.
probably will take care of that one myself. It's a sad day when a county can't help farmers get their crop off in the middle of January, I'll tell you what. So I'll be paying that one myself. Them are the people that pay the taxes to keep this county going.
But the thing of it is, Dwight, if you remember when we had the West Gunch up there with that other deal too, they had to pay for that. I'm just doing what we've always done in the past, that's what we,
That's okay, I'll take care of it.
Okay, let's move on. We're talking about chip seals now. Can you please help us? I think it was a very small bill too, right? $156 or something?
15.
it was a balance of what was left with that
Okay.
90-10 split thing with federal aid we used.
That's
And that-
paid in full at this, then?
Right, yep, so it's in the final one, yep.
Mr. Chairman, can I get a motion to accept this final pay estimate?
Yes. I'm
So-
looking,
Oh, yeah, sorry.
looking for a motion to accept the final payment for the chip seal.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any more discussion? And the dollar amount, we should state on that motion. What's the dollar amount?
$1,556.08.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second to accept payment or to make payment for the final chip seal of $1,556.08. Any discussion?
Does this go to the state, this
Yep.
money?
Yeah, it's a
Yep.
DOT bill.
Okay.
Any more discussion? Okay, we have a motion, I believe by Merlin.
No.
How's your vote?
No.
No. You, Wayne?
Yep.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't write it down right.
Okay, how vote aye?
Who seconded it?
Merwin.
I did.
Merlin, will you, Merlin? Dwayne?
Aye.
Dwight?
Aye.
And I vote aye, motion passed.
Next one is trees and county right away at Lake Shore Estates.
I went ahead and got 3 estimates as per the commissioner's request. They range anywhere from 18,000 down to 8,000. Don't know where that money's gonna come from either. But I also was informed that this project probably isn't going to be put in place until 2022. So it probably doesn't have to be done this year. It would be nice to get started on it, and needs to be done in the wintertime when there's ice out there so they can get at them trees. There's about 60 trees in the county right away. That 33 feet.
Well, then money can be put in their budget for next year if we do this.
Yeah. I don't know then they'll probably just have to do it again because the price won't be the same, I know,
To rebid it, yeah.
but I'm just giving the commissioners an idea what it's gonna cost to get them removed.
Ken, couldn't this fall under one of your road maintenance line items?
I'd have to look if we have enough money for it. Because we got everything budgeted for with projects. I mean, until where they come in, I don't know what we're gonna have left. I mean, sometimes we're over, sometimes we're under, so until that happens.
Mr. Chairman,
Sure.
question on these, we have 3 proposals in front of us. Now, I was wondering, does this take care of disposing of the trees to where it's supposed to be, cutting the stumps down and that kind of stuff, or just sawing the trees down and?
The understanding when I asked for the bids was to deliver them at the landfill and the county would decide how to pay the tonnage fees?
Okay,
Cause, you know, we will end up paying them, whether they charge us for them or we'll end up paying them anyway. So these quotes were all delivered to the landfill.
and does that include grinding the stumps down or just
No,
cutting the
cut
trees
them
down?
off at ice level.
And that's it?
I realize that it's gonna cost money to put them in the landfill, but we might as well take care of that ourselves. As had somebody tack it on to their estimate.
Right.
And I haven't looked at it, Dwight, and so I have no clue. If we waited till next year, what would be, other than having to go get another estimates again, what would be the impact?
There probably would be no impact, other than it probably would cost more, but at least we could make sure we had money in the budget for it.
Okay,
I didn't realize that this project at Lake Shore was gonna take that long. I thought it was gonna be coming this year, but they've gotta go through the Corps of Engineers for a okay for this, so it's not gonna happen tomorrow by any means.
okay, we're looking at a motion, thank you. I'm looking at a motion to either accept or state a time when we recommend to address removal of these trees.
I think it should be put in the budget for next year, so we know we have money there for that.
Is that a motion?
Yes, sir.
Well, we have a motion, please, I don't wanna put words in your motion. What's your motion, please? Table it, move it for next year?
Yeah, and have the highway department put money in their budget for next year's budget, so that the money is there, and we can do it.
So you're making a motion to remove the trees in 2021 and a budget line item be entered to cover that.
Yes.
That's not what I had written down.
Okay, what, you're ready, what do you got?
To put money in the budget for next year, so the money is there and we can do it.
We'll go with either one. No, Shanna's got the deal, that's fine.
Well, that's what he stated, but
Exactly.
you want me to dress it up a little, bit so we can take care of the 60 trees in the county right away at Lake Shore?
Correct.
Okay.
I don't know that you wanna say 60
Of the
because.
trees, I'll just put
I
of the
don't know how
trees
many trees there are.
Exactly, we
in
might,
the county right away
right.
at Lake Shore. Got it.
All right, we have a motion to take care of the trees next year and include a budget line item for that cost for 2021. Do I have a second? Do I have a second? I second that motion. Any more discussion? We have a motion and a second, one Dwayne and myself.
The
Any
only
more
reason,
discussion?
the only reason I went ahead and did this is so we had an idea how much money to put away,
It is a good idea.
to put in the budget to get this job done.
Yep, and it's good work, and thank you. All right, any more discussion? Dwayne, how do you vote?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Merlin?
Aye.
Dwight?
Aye.
Wayne?
Aye.
Motion passed. Trees get to have leaves one more year. Next item, Ken?
2020 load restrictions, it's just so when they do come on, which is probably gonna be in the next couple weeks, they already put them on south of I-94 and west of Highway 49 from that southwest corridor with the state highway, so usually we're within a couple weeks after that. So it just has a description of all the roads that can go to that 65,000 or 6 ton per axle.
You all should have got a copy of that.
So you're gonna go ahead and do that then, eh?
Well, as soon as I get the okay from you guys, when you guys approve this, and then once they come on with the state when they do ours, then we do ours right after that, so our, about the same time, they initiate it, so.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the load restrictions that we have.
I have a motion to approve the load restrictions. Do I have a second?
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
Any more discussion? Any more discussion?
When do you wanna put these in place?
As soon as the state does ours, or theirs in our area is when we do ours.
So can we add on that load restrictions when required, or don't we need to worry about that?
No.
Okay, Merlin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Wayne?
Aye.
Dwight?
Aye.
Dwayne?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion passed. Okay, we've got a few minutes here. I'd like to take a 10-minute break. Please.
Can I give you a sign copy of that?
Somebody buy a lot of chainsaws.
Well, that was the low price, you know.
Yes.
You have 18,000, they must have some pretty special equipment.
Well, there's a deal here, if you haul the live fill, there's gonna be a charge. That includes the charge for that.
My legs is different. Yes.
Yeah.
Very stallion, anybody used to be. Quit letting you beat the heck out of you. Your house.
I don't know how big these kids are.
We take it, how big of a recess?
10 minutes or something, till I suppose, 10:30?
It's been there as long as, you know, everybody says they've been there forever. Why they never drawn before this time? I mean, I suppose the water was too high or for too long or what, I don't know. There ain't a lot of one in.
Smiling, smiling.
Hey, wait, I deal with Steve Beaver. You know, the thing is, when you had called me, and I called him, and I told him, I says, that's what we need, is good with it. So, that's where that, you know, I'm not, here's the thing with that, I'm not against doing it twice, but when there's, that's the protocol we use, that's what we gotta use, because the same thing with them trees, or that deal up there with that tree, so, you know.
No, it's Jessica Binder's protocol. That's the sad part of it.
Like I say, then I'm not in the middle of it all the time, and that's, did you get that credit card thing? You were able to get that?
Well, I didn't call to see her.
Oh, you did? See, then dispatch.
What are you doing today? Oh, you know, had a day. All balled out yet, or is there still some to go?
Just warming up, probably with district, with regional tournaments coming up, he's just getting warmed up.
I've got girls regional starts on Friday. Maybe they'll play in, and I'll be at state wrestling this weekend too. So,
Yeah, something there, we don't have to.
slowly whittling down.
You said you won't know what to do, huh?
Well, he's got track and baseball coming up.
I'll know what to do. Baseball's the one that I don't like, cause the game's so boring, I can actually.
You must right up with county commission meetings.
No, I think you guys are a little more lively than the baseball meeting.
Well, we don't score as many runs though. We strike out a lot.
Hang in there. So where's Dan again now? Is he on vacation somewhere? or-
So his parents have a place out in Nevada.
Oh, that's right, that's right.
Duran, you told me once, right?
Yes, sir.
So how do you like this nice, fresh weather?
I'm finding it hilarious that 2 weeks in a row we go through the emotional weather state. Negative something ridiculous, 40 something later in the week, back to negative, back to 40 something.
That's humorous?
I don't know what to, I don't know how to take it. I don't know whether to be disappointed, excited, because it's not sticking around, which is what we all hope for, but it's a little annoying. Make you think early spring is coming and.
Oh, heck, who would think that this time of year? That's like April 15, you start worrying about that.
Yeah, that's the. And I like to say, father time keeps making Mother Nature angry. We're all the children that get the brunt of it.
Mm-hmm.
How long of a recess are we taking?
I said it to, I should have taken it back. I said 10:30. I'll not do that again either. Well, I
Well,
shouldn't.
clerk of court funding and landfill tonnage report are gonna take more than a minute. Landfill tonnage report will take you 10 seconds. It's just a review.
Mm-hmm.
Do you need to see, are you familiar with the clerk of court funding?
No.
Familiarize yourself. This is a every other year agreement that we do.
Wayne comes back, we're gonna start. This is a, I'm getting familiar with it, Shannon, I just handed it to you. This clerk of court agreement, it's every other year.
Two county entities down here for the last, I guess he's averaging 40 years now.
Where do you go, to Minnesota?
Always forget what the town's called. Somewhere in Nevada.
Didn't you go to Havasu?
No. If you went to Havasu, I would go.
I thought it was somewhere, Laughlin?
I think that sounds about right. Something that starts with the S. Yeah, he's in.
If we go with state, then we don't have any really control over it.
Nice warm weather. No one guarantees.
If they're paying the bill.
Free donuts.
He's not that spiteful, is he?
There's only one thing you guys need to know about Dan, is that that kid loves food.
Yeah,
It's number
well,
one.
Never.
he's
I don't
a,
know how he stays. Like, I'm a skinny guy, he's skinnier than me.
he's a bachelor. He never knows when he's gonna eat again, so he takes advantage whenever he can.
I guess. It's a work of art to watch. I've seen him eat 5 candy bars in one sitting. Not even crazy.
Are they going to be here for this, do you think?
Who?
Clerk of court?
She was here
She
already.
was earlier.
I saw that.
Jessica's here now too.
Which one do we have now, Shannon? Of the three
The
options?
county agreement. They reimburse us monthly.
For the full amount?
No.
I didn't think so.
So it's option number 2.
That's what
Yeah.
we have now.
Yep.
You wanna do that?
That's your budget.
Yep,
Can you take it?
yep.
I'll let you know what we get reimbursed.
I prefer to have the full amount reimbursed.
Want to pass that down? This here's the clerk of court funding agreement. We're gonna talk about, I was unaware of it, so Shannon gave me a copy to read.
We do that every year.
Okay, I'd like to reconvene the meeting if we could, please.
Same as it.
Landfill tonnage report,
That's good.
good, that's okay. We can review that, it gives in our packet.
Send this back down.
The financial report's gonna take more than 4 minutes, so I don't wanna give that. I'm gonna give part of the portfolio updates, and Dwight, do you wanna start, please?
Had Fair Board meeting last week. It's, a lot of new members. You got the text I sent you that it's full again.
Yep, I forgot to take it off the website, but I'll do that.
They're just starting to put the fair together, but everything costs more money. And they would like the commissioners to consider that. They're probably starting with the least amount in their checking account that they ever have at this time of the year.
Have they called and requested their $50,000 yet, or written?
I think they got it, didn't they?
I don't,
Or maybe they didn't.
I don't think I've gotten a letter from Donna yet.
Okay. But-
I'll
oh,
check with
yeah.
her,
That's supposed to be coming.
yeah.
Water board meeting, well, just the discussion we already had about the trees. They're still looking at different things on that bridge out north of Stanton. That's about it.
Wayne?
I don't have a whole lot. The weed board met the other night, and anyhow, down the road here, they'll be putting out bids for chemical. I believe they'll have the same personnel that they had last year. And they just kinda talked to what all went on at the convention, and that's probably in a nutshell what it was, so.
Merlin?
Our social services zone board meets tomorrow, so we'll see what develops of that. Like I believe I told you at the last meeting that Steve has been okayed by the state to continue as the director. And there's a few other things here and there on the agenda, but nothing earth-shattering. On Thursday, we have planning and zoning in Beulah. That should be quite interesting. We've got a whole batch of requests from that Agard Resources for their sand mining business. And so we'll see what develops with those. I don't know, you wanna add any more on that for planning and zoning, Marv?
Nope, that's good.
Okay, and then Monday, we have our library board meeting in Riverdale.
Again,
I'll be there, and that way we can have a redo of what Marv did.
Mr. Chairman,
sure.
Shanna, would you notice on the website that I'll be attending the planning and zoning meeting tomorrow night?
Okay, I think Dwight,
I'll be quick.
oh, go ahead, Dwayne, go ahead.
Nothing much. Ambulance meeting next Monday night at 6 PM in Hazen. And the landfill is going okay, except they're having problems getting dirt to cover the garbage. She had some stockpiled, but it's running low. Everything else is frozen.
It's hard, huh?
It's hard, yes. So they're working on it, whatever they can do. That's it.
Okay. Okay, it's 10:30. We'll move on to the salary review committee. We had 3 applicants for that. First, I'm going to talk about the commissioners. Are there any commissioners that are interested in serving on that committee?
I've thought about serving a lot, but I don't know. It seems like every time we wanna set up a committee that's gonna hopefully help our employees, we get garbage like this letter. So it's awful hard for me to, it's just like somebody's there to sabotage them before they even get started. So at this time, I don't think I'm interested in serving.
I'll put my name in the hat. I'm interested in that. And we suggested 2 commissioners, so I'm asking, is there another commission that's interested? Okay, we don't have any other commissioners interested, so I'm gonna go to direction. If we set up this, I'm gonna ask Jessica a question if I could, please. If we set up this committee as 2 commissioners and 2 employees, and we don't get 2 commissioners, is it null and void? Or can we change it?
I don't think, wasn't your motion for 2 and 2?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I don't know, there's no such committee anywhere, and so it's really what you guys make it, I suppose.
Okay.
Regardless, it'll be open meeting, no matter how many are on it, so.
Okay, so, thank you. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, it's okay,
Okay. Actually, it's not. When I do that, you can do that to me.
noted.
So the salary review committee, right now, there's only 1 commissioner interested, and that would be myself. And I would like to proceed. We had 3 applicants, and I think you guys have the papers there. One was Dawn Granis, and she has a pretty nice resume. Heather Vegessa, they all do. Everyone offers a point of interest, so they all are very qualified. So I'm asking for the commission, do you guys have any recommendations on these employees? And I'll just go down the line.
Mr. Chairman, if I
Sure,
may.
yes.
One of them's a department head, the other 2 are not. As I mentioned last time when this was discussed, no employee has this specifically as their job description. So if you're going with an employee, I would request at the very least you get the blessing from their department head to be able to be involved.
Thank you. That, it absolutely has to be required, and I have done that. I've talked to Dawn and Heather, passing through yesterday, and they both said they had permission from their department head. Thanks for bringing that note up. So I'm gonna go down the line and we'll just, Merlin, do you have any recommendations that you prefer? I'm gonna put us on the spot.
Yeah, I have a recommendation that, I would be willing to make another motion to replace the other one we had, that we have, 2, or 3 commissioners on, plus, these, 2, well, I guess it'd be, 1 employee that's interested. So I would be willing to do that eventually when we're ready for that, but
There's 1 commissioner and 3 employees.
since there's only 3 applied, maybe we take them all, cause it has a pretty good broad, swath of what we do with our commission, and then also, again, then that would be 2 commissioner, or 1 commissioner, and that would take care of the, other deal, I think. But we'll come to that, but I think all 3 of those probably should be on this committee.
Okay, I wrote down Merlin as all 3. Dwayne? Do you have any recommendations that you prefer?
I'm not in favor of this. I'll make that statement because it should be done by an outside third party. And there's going to be certain things from certain people on this committee that's going to influence this review. I certainly, so I'm not voting for it at all.
Good. Well, thank you. You can just remind everyone that this is the committee and we don't have to accept the recommendation, and we still have other alternatives if we want to go down that road. Wayne?
Yeah, partially, I would agree with Dwayne that it'd feel a lot better if it was an outside individual. But since it isn't, I would recommend that we at least put all three of these people in. We got a good cross-section of the county, and if there's more people interested, I'm not, I'm not saying that we can't have four.
Okay. Dwight?
Go along with Merlin's suggestion to have all three of them and one commissioner for now. And I can make that in the form of a motion if that's what you're looking for.
I'll give my vote on this, my discussion on this too. I also agree with that. Yes, I will recommend, I will accept. We're looking for a motion to proceed. You want to make that motion, Dwight?
Yeah.
So you want me to insert in your motion, one Commissioner Marv and the three employees, Ken, Don, and Heather, be appointed to this committee? Okay.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I, again, for the record, would like to note that I advise against this. I think it is problematic in putting employees in this position. Under Century Code, the department heads are required to present their budget. You guys are supposed to review it. I think this committee clouds the rules, or the lines there. And I think department heads are well-versed enough in their departments that those are the numbers that should be looked at. We're putting employees in a position to judge other department heads, including their own salary, and I think this is problematic.
Mr. Chairman, I totally agree with the state's attorney.
Any more comments? Any more discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I will agree with definitely what the state's attorney did say. I don't know if these folks for sure know what they're getting involved in, but it could leave some pretty distasteful things, and I really don't enjoy seeing that to happen, but we'll see, where this goes.
I agree that it's going to be a tough spot, and I visited with both of them very briefly. And I said, this is going to be a hard spot. Are you guys willing to do this? And they both said yes. I don't see anything wrong with pursuing this avenue of information and getting some more input. Again, I'll reiterate, if we decide later on that we want to do another path, we still have that option. So we have a motion and a second for one commissioner and three employees. And Dwight, I'm sorry, is there any more discussion? Any more discussion?
Mr. Chairman, like we said, this is just a study at this point, but I believe we've had wage studies and different things before, and it wasn't followed. Some were, some weren't, or whatever, but is there some other way we can look at this type of a thing? Is there any other possibilities? I know there's outside consultants you can bring in, but those cost money.
I think it's I'm sorry.
Go ahead, that's good.
I think it's a worthwhile endeavor to see where we're at on this here. Getting information never hurts. It'd be a good process. I sincerely believe that. Any more discussion? Dwight, how do you vote?
Aye.
Merlin?
Aye.
Wayne?
Vote aye.
Dwight? Dwayne?
No.
Marv, I vote aye. Motion passed. Okay. I would like to set up the first meeting on this for January 22nd, 1 PM to 3 PM.
January?
You're waiting a whole year? Good, I'll go
No.
along, I'll second that.
Well, next week would be February. See? Duran, I'm keeping winter here. I want January back again.
February 22nd is a Saturday.
I'm looking at the calendar. Means I screwed up the first month. This is 26th, is that correct?
For what?
26th,
One week from now?
That's a Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Okay, I'd like to set up the one for February 26th at 1 to 3 p.m. And I'm gonna ask Shannon, would you be so kind to send these people a notice that they were all three selected and that the meeting is at that time, and if they can't make it, or we'll go from there?
Mr. Chairman, for clarification, if you're setting it not till 3 and it goes over an hour and any of those employees end up with overtime or anything, is it to be covered by their departments?
I'm glad you brought that up, and that it'll be 1 to 3. It will not go over past 3. And will you also be so kind to post it for the open meeting requirements?
Yep.
Thank you.
You wanna go back, Mr. Chairman, do you wanna go back to alternate people on these boards now? We have Jessica here. Can we get that out of the way? Or you wanna wait?
Oh, forgot what we did with that.
We tabled till we could have Jessica here?
We already tabled it.
Yeah, I think we already
So
tabled,
we'll have-
we tabled an item for next meeting. We can't go back and reopen it now, can we? We voted to table it because you weren't here.
I think if you tabled it, you could move to open it again.
Okay, let's move to, thank you.
I don't know,
Which issue?
I don't think it was a motion though. I
No.
think we just
No.
tabled it.
Okay, so let's reopen which line item was that again?
Alternate members.
Alternate.
Alternate members at the boards. Okay, and I explained to them that I went there with the assumption that I could vote, and I did, and it was called, and you confirmed that, no, I could not vote, so they have to hold it again. And one of the ideas I suggested is that we assign all of the commissioners as alternate to these boards, so that if he can't make it, he can choose someone else. But that may not be practical,
No.
so I'm looking for some direction here. Anybody have any ideas?
One, is particular to that board being a multi-county one, I think it's even more problematic. And so many of those boards have their own bylaws and all sorts of, their own policies, so I don't think a blanket approach would work. And the Century Code, I don't know if it necessarily allows for an alternate. The only potential option I would see would be to designate one alternate, not across the board. But I don't know if that would be allowable depending on the board we're talking about, so,
So we need to review the bylaws then.
right,
That's what we discussed and thought too.
yep, so,
So we're right back to tabling it again, and Merlin's going up there, and he can possibly research the next time you go up there.
Yeah. Well, you know the president of that board.
You have to redo. I can't go in, I'm not
No, but you know the president, you could probably, say hi.
it seems to me under the Century Code for the library board in particular, it says, commissioner or authorized representative. For that particular board, it might be allowed to designate that, but I'd have to double check. All the other boards though, Weed Board has its own Century Code chapter, some of them have their own underlying bylaws, so it's not that
Right.
simple.
How about planning and zoning? Because that's just Mercer County, right?
Right, and
Because I know we had Dwight went in for Marvin a while back ago. I just making
Right.
sure that's.
I've not necessarily agreed with that, but it's different in these multi-county boards or, the planning and zoning is a recommendation-only board, so ultimately it does come back up here, and it is relegated to our county. I know at that meeting where Mr. Berger attended for Mr. Schwer, the attorney involved in that case was questioning that process as well. So it's not one, I have condoned necessarily, but it's not nearly as problematic as the multi-county boards.
Okay.
So we think the library board has bylaws and how they put that together?
It has to be reviewed.
Because I think Mercer County is the home outfit for that, but.
Well,
It has to be reviewed.
it's a joint board. It- Yeah.
Okay. We're done, we can move on. I would like to go back to the portfolio updates. All of them gave their portfolios. I'll get to my financial report. except for myself. Under the portfolio updates, I wanna say that I went to Custer Health meeting down in Mandan, and it was great. They had so much information that was so transparent and full disclosure, and if you asked a question, it was just great. It was a good meeting. They do a really, really good job. They had some questions that I get called on, or I got called on, I should only say once, is that, why are we contributing to other counties? And I asked them that, and they said, well, actually, we're not. Because that was the good neighbor policy, I think it's called, with the needles for the people, and that's covered underneath the grant. And another case, we were into South Dakota on another issue, and they gave me how many clients they had in each of those. They did a very good job, and it was a good meeting, very nice. The other portfolio update is, I requested a meeting I asked for a meeting with Shannon, and she granted it. And Dwayne Shire was with me, and it was yesterday, and we were looking at, are there any alternate ways of approving our bills that may or may not work better? And it was mostly a brainstorming session. It's been discussed and brought up different times at what might be the best way to do it. So we just talked about it pretty much, and anybody can, Dwayne and Shannon, you can correct me or add whatever you want. We left it where Shanna's gonna contact some other auditors and see how they do it. There was a lot of different avenues that were discussed, or I should say 3 basically, and I thought it was a nice meeting and it's not over, we can decide what works best. The auditor's department does the work, and that has to be part of the equation. So, anything you wanna add to that? Okay. Okay, so we're done with portfolio updates, now we're down to the financial report. I asked that expenditure report be struck, and that's because it's gonna be covered in my financial report. And this will be quite brief, but, we'll just walk our way through it. One thing I wanna stress is that we need to be aware that how much our revenues, how they're changing. And Shannon had some statistics that she got from the newspaper, and I also had some also.
That I gave to the newspaper.
When we look at coal conversion, coal severance, state aid, state highway, mineral, township road and bridge, telecom, game and fish, homestead credit, disabled vet, and then there's a flood one, which is, I think that's over with now. When we look at all those, and I looked at 16 through 19, and see how they're trending, they're all trending down. I shouldn't say that all of them. Coal severance is holding at, it's trending down too at 14%. Coal conversion, this is between 17 and 19. That's the only 2 years I looked at for this trend. Coal conversion's dropped 33%. Overall, when you add all those together, our revenue has dropped about 13%. So I just want us all to be aware that in our financial, and when we're making budgets, that we need to be cognizant of this. And also along with that is, there's a lot of concern how long coal will be in the county as far as revenue and how much. I'm not the only one that has that concern, so I'd like us to all to be aware of it. Part of the coal conversion is that 5-year donation, and they're done with 2 years of that. This year, they'll be done with 2 years. There'll only be 3 more years left. It's a decreasing by 20%, so that will drop even more than it has. So I want you guys to be aware of that. Another thing is, I went down to I stopped in the Capitol building. I was going through on some other business, and I stopped in at the Josh Gallian's office. He's the state auditor, just to say hello because of another thing that I was acquainted with him about. And he said, no, you sit down. We need to talk to you. And I said, well, I don't want to. He said, I'm the boss. I can change my schedule. So we did. He ended up putting me on a speaker phone with Heath Erickson. That's another one of his auditors. And he brought another auditor from upstairs and wanted to know how things were going. And I expressed my opinion on it. One thing that I did express is that our present software isn't working to the full benefit that we could receive for this county. as I understand it, we haven't had this software working since 2016. So we're 4 years of not having really, really good software program where we can run reports and all the information will be on them. Got a little bit of the history of how that occurred. It doesn't matter. This is the point we're at today. And he wanted to know which ones we have. And I had that, didn't have it with me when I was with them. But I did give one to all you guys today and give one to Shannon if she wants. These are all the softwares that are being used by other counties. And they said, well, we'd like to make a recommendation. And they recommended Tyler Tech. They said there's a lot of reasons that they recommend it. One's ease of use, and the other is it would save us money on our audits. So the program that we have, they didn't think that, my impression from what they told me, we need to get this corrected, and it's quite important. I firmly agree. I don't want to go 5 years and not have a system where we don't have continuity on our historical data and the right reports. So I want to go down that road where we get our software system working. And there's a lot of pieces to this, and I'll need some more input. But I just want you guys aware that that's my goal. One of my goals is to get our financial software program working. The first thing that has to occur to get this done, it's a little bit more than a two-step process, but there's the main two-step process the way I see it. And that's to get a real in-depth audit, including all controls and any special concerns. What they said is we need a foundation to start from, because our other program, we lost a little bit of information. They said we have to go through another audit and get this a foundation that we can start from, and from that point forward, we'll have to begin anew. We will not be able to capture everything from the past because of the update, basically. So we need to get an audit done. Some of the reasons, that's what they stated, the reasons that need an audit done is that one of the things that is, what I see is Shannon creating a lot of manual reports. Manual reports can cause room for error. The best person in the world can cross up a number just by typing it in. We need a best practices going forward. The way we are right now, we're losing continuity in our historical records. And we also need a clear and definite description of our restricted and committed funds and which one of all the money that we have in the bank, how much is restricted and how much is committed and how much is left over for general operating revenue. So I'm going to entertain a motion that we have an audit done for 2019. This year, and go out for a couple of cost estimates to get that completed.
I'll make a motion for a complete audit on 2019 in order to get finances in order.
And you're asking for
Mr.
RFPs
Chairman,
on that?
Second, please. Let Mervin finish, I'll come back.
You're asking for RFP, request for proposal from auditing firms to do this? That's correct?
That would be part of the process.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Shannon?
where are we gonna pay for this? We've been talking about this all day. Our last audit was $12,000+.
How much?
12,000?
Okay,
Don't we do biannual audits?
We can take it out of the ICS account.
What's that?
that's a savings account that we have we have, what, 176,000 in there? Something of that nature? So, I think this is very important that we get this done. We need to move forward on getting we just can't wait one more year. I know it wasn't a budget item, we do have the money in the bank, it's critical enough that we go get a cost estimate and get an audit done in 2019 and include any special concerns that we may have at that time. So we have a motion to get an audit done for 2019. Do I have a second?
Mr. Chairman, can I ask then, you don't feel the biannual audits are sufficient to get a baseline, as you say?
No, I do not. I visited with her. So we have a motion. Do I have a second? I'm going to second that motion, that we get a 2019 audit, in-depth, to include all internal controls and special concerns. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, you keep talking about overspending, things here, and saving money, and yet you come around and want to spend some more. Now, I don't know where you're coming from, but, all of a sudden, we got all this money somewhere in this fund that we can use. I just don't understand it. No, I'm not, we got a audit coming up next year. I think that's where we should start from. Because that'll be in the budget.
Mr. Chairman,
Sure.
the other part here, this looks like kind of a two-phase deal or something here. You're talking about the software process is not keeping up or, so we also need to do something with our software process before you almost get, if you need a data line or a starting point, the starting point, I would say, would be our software first. Or to get that updated. Because otherwise you do an audit to get a baseline and, you're still on a old software that you can't put it into or something wrong with that. Is that what I'm picking up?
You have a good point. It's a chicken and egg thing. I'll counter that. If we get the software program, our database program, we won't have anything to put in it if we don't have the audit done. So this is what was suggested, that we get this audit done first. And if we wait it's important, the question that Dwayne offered is that, where am I getting the money from? You don't want to spend the money. This is critical enough that it requires us to take some money out of savings to do it. It's that important that we start operating our county in the best practices that we possibly can. If we wait till next year for that audit, and then we don't get it'd be another whole year before we get our software program updated. This software program needs to move forward. 4 years is too long not to have it. We've already been 4 years. It's just not correct.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, ma'am.
Software has been an issue for years, and to be clear, what software each department uses is an issue for the department heads to hammer out. Before, it was an issue between auditor's office and treasurer's office, so I think their input is critical. But I do believe Tyler Technologies has been involved, and the estimate there was, I wanna say like $200,000. So while this audit might seem like a small price for that, in comparison, you're potentially now looking at adding another audit next year, as expected, in addition to a proposed $200,000 software, and you haven't had the input of your department heads using it.
Okay. That's part of the process, Jessica, and you said it very well. Yes, it does. When we come time for the software, it will require input and possibly a question. I'm envisioning a questionnaire, and then sit down with all the departments, and we can have a special meeting, whatever we need to do. We need to have their input on what they need to operate their department. And that will be part of the answer that this software company is going to have to provide, yes or no, can we do that or not do that, before we would choose that software. That's not the question right now. The question is, it's part of the question. As far as having another audit again next year, we have been doing them every other year. There is nothing stopping us from skipping next year and going to the following year and moving back to the biannual one. The point that I want to make is that we want to get this foundation done sooner than later. We don't want to wait 2 more years. Our county should not be operating without a program. We spent over $300,000, to my knowledge, on a program, and it doesn't work.
No. That was Great Plains, then we switched back to the AS400. Great Plains worked. That was all Excel-based. That one worked. That's the program that we used in 2016. In 2017, we came back to the AS400, and last year spent $36,000 on a new program through the AS400. $36,888.
Weren't we told by the department heads that that would be good for 5 or 10 years?
It's supposed to be. I am a firm believer that this AS400 is a very good program. We just need to find
A program.
a program guy that can get us the most use out of this. We can convert anything to Excel with this, but our guy doesn't know how to do it. So I think we just need somebody who knows how to use the AS400 to go with them versus what we have now.
Okay. I disagree with Shanna. And the reason I'm saying is, I told Josh Gallion, now he's our state auditor, what program we have. It's on this sheet here. They were kind of shocked. You guys need to get with a current program. We're throwing good money after bad on an old program. It does not work. When you look at some of our revenue reports, it doesn't total everything. It's antiquated. We need to move forward and get this, in our bed. We don't need to limp along. We really don't. We're limping along, limping along, limping along. Let's get it fixed. We spent all this money, we tried something, it didn't work. That's in the past. And the reason we tried that is because what we had wasn't working the best way that it possibly could. I'm proposing that we have an opportunity now to move forward and quit limping along. We can do things sort of good, or we can do things well. We serve the taxpayers. I move that we accept this and that we do things in the best way forward that we can. And there's always going to be a pain. There's always going to be a cost.
Mr. Chairman, to Dwight's comment, I think we had 3 department heads, or 4, that were in here last year. I think before this board takes a step, you should have input from those department heads who are using this every day to ask them. It's Mr. Chairman's opinion about the quality of the software, but those that are using it every day, I think their opinions are critical to this.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes. go
are
ahead.
we scatter shooting here with this thing? Are we talking about an audit? Are we talking about software?
I got a motion on it.
Or do we dump into everything?
We are scatter shooting. It's getting moved all over. The subject is we need an audit. We need a foundation to start from.
Okay, if that's the case, Mr. Chairman, if that's the case, then I really think we need to get a request for proposal from these audit firms.
Correct.
And we need to put the specifications out here. Here's what we're looking for, exactly down the line. That gets sent out, we get our proposal back, tell us how much it's gonna cost us. Then I think we can look at it. Right now, we have no clue how much it's gonna cost us.
That is correct. That would be the process.
And to that, and to be clear, we're required to do the biannual audits, which we do, which is scheduled for next year. It is his opinion that we need to do an audit this year. To be clear, as you're operating under law, it is not required to do the audit this year.
This would be above and beyond.
Correct.
We've done audits before without doing it every other year.
I'm not disputing that, I'm just
Okay.
clarifying.
Yep.
That it's your opinion, it's not required by law.
It's not required by law. It's my opinion, based on the information that I've reviewed on looking at these reports, that they don't work. And I've talked to Mr. Norby, and it does not work. I've talked to him 3 times, and when I explained this to Josh Gallion, he said, fire him.
Really?
That's exactly what he said, and you guys can call him. I didn't request all this I just went in to say hello, and he wanted to know what we were doing up here, and I started explaining it, and had a little bit of, we need to move forward.
Who are you firing?
Mark Norby.
And then who's gonna?
He's
take-
not doing our work now anyhow, so we can hire anybody. I've contacted him 3 times, and he's given me 3 different dates, and every one has come and gone, and he hasn't contacted me back.
Okay, but before you fire him, can you line somebody?
I'm not saying we're doing that. I'm saying that was a comment that was made off the cuff in a conversation. I'm saying that our present person doesn't work. Face it. He hasn't worked, it has not worked for 4 years. We are afraid, or we choose not to move forward with this for whatever reasons I don't understand, because we're limping.
Well, Mr. Chairman, if I may, I'll say this again. I just don't see where all of a sudden you're getting this money from to do this. And suggestion would be the money's in the bank. You know, by the time we get done here, this is gonna cost a pretty penny. And, you keep going over financial statements that were in the red in these other places, on the revenues and the expenditures. All of a sudden, we're spending more money. And you're supposed to be a conservative.
We are, okay, I'm sorry.
That's the end of my story.
Okay. We are supposed to be conservative.
Well, you are, you said that one time.
I believe in being very conservative. I challenge anybody to be even more conservative than myself. This is a necessary cost. It's no different than a rancher out there and his tractor breaks down, he has to buy a new tractor.
Landfill cells.
That it just has to be done. Our system is broken. It needs to be repaired and fixed. We should not be operating the way we are operating. Okay, so we have a motion to have an audit by Dwight and seconded by myself. Is there any more discussion? The first step is,
Like I said, I won't vote for it until I can see how much it's gonna cost and have a proposal, and we tell them what we want. Right now, we're just kinda sitting in the dark room hoping.
that's exactly true. That is part of the process of requesting an audit, is that we go out and get costs. That would be part of the process, and they would report back to us. And they would submit a formal proposal
Yeah, from us, like what I'm saying.
to us.
Yeah, what I'm saying is we put the RFP dynamics together. We advertise, we're looking for proposals for an audit for how many, whatever years. And once we get those back in, then we can talk about if we're gonna go forward or not. Until we have that, we don't have anything.
Are you asking to amend the motion?
No.
Okay. All right, we have a motion on the floor to acquire an audit for the year of 2019, including all internal controls and special concerns. And Dwight, how do you vote?
Aye.
I vote aye. Wayne?
I'll vote nay.
Merlin?
Nay.
Dwight? Or Dwayne?
No.
Okay, motion failed.
Mr. Chairman, I have a motion if I could. Yep. My motion would be that we put together a request for proposals for an audit for the 2019 fiscal year, and that proposal be brought back to the commission to review, and once we review that, go forward from there.
We have a motion to get a request for pricing on a quote for the year 2019. Do we have a second? Do we have a second?
If it's for 2019, then will it be conducted in 2020? Are you looking to have the financials of 2019 audited or the financials of 2018? Because if it's for 2019, we have to complete it. So when are you? Yeah, but so you want it this year for 2019? That's what,
That's correct.
okay.
Okay, we have,
So audit this year for 2019 to be conducted during 2020, right? Okay.
I will second that motion. Any discussion? Any discussion? Merlin, how do you vote?
Aye.
I vote aye. Dwayne?
No.
Wayne?
I'll vote aye.
Dwight?
Aye.
Motion passed. Will you please repeat that motion back to me, Shanna? So that we're all clear on
Put
that.
together an RFP for 2019 audit to be performed in 2020.
For 2019?
For a 2019 audit to be performed in 2020.
Okay, thank you.
Don't forget, we have clerk of court funding agreement on here yet.
I did.
I know you skipped right over it.
So who's gonna put together the RFP?
Let's,
Because
you,
we got the motion out there that passed, we got an RFP, well, who's gonna put the parameters into it? Probably Shanna?
That's a
You want our
commission
input on it?
requirement.
Yeah.
Huh?
we can do that.
Okay. Because we'll get that back here and then see what we get.
I think the board will need to approve the RFP, whatever's drafted.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if they want it. I suppose.
Because that'd be on our next agenda. The RFP will come here, and then if we approve that, then it's, can be put out for public response.
Okay. Which one did I miss there, Shanna?
Clerk of court funding, I need a motion on that.
Oh. We have a clerk of court funding agreement, and we have 3 options on that, and we need a motion to accept. And Shanna, will we? I'll read the 3 options. 1, the Board of Commissioners may, after consultation with the clerk of court, elect to have the clerk of court staff designated by the Supreme Court become employees of the state judicial system. That's one option. The other option is the Board of Commissioners may elect to enter into a funding agreement for the 2021-2023 biennium to receive reimbursement for providing clerk services. Or the third option, the Board of Commissioners may elect to provide clerk of district court services at the county's own expense. Presently, it is my understanding that we are using option number 2. The Board of Commissioners may elect to enter into a funding agreement for the 2021-2023 biennium to receive reimbursement for providing clerk services. We need a motion to accept or reject.
I'll make a motion to accept option 2.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Any discussion? Dwayne?
Aye.
Dwight?
Aye.
Wayne?
Aye.
Merlin?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion passed. If there's no more further, is there any further business? I don't see any further business that I missed. If there's no further business, meeting is adjourned.